you're making a splash with reading, is that right? Something along those lines? How many of you have been reading books that have something to do with water? Have we read any books about water? Or are we just reading books about everything? Everything? Okay. Well, as she said, my name is Tarra, and I'm from the Richardson Zoo, which is up in Garden City. How many of you have ever been to our zoo? Okay. Fantastic. What do zoos have? Animals. What animals, raise your hands for me on this one, what animals do you guys think about when you think about water? What animals do you think about when you think of water? Raise your hands. What do you think about? Dolphins? Sharks? What do you think about? Giraffes? You think about giraffes with water? Giraffes have a very hard time drinking water, don't they? What do you think? Fish? Absolutely. Yeah. Orcas, which is a kind of whale. Yeah. Right there. What do you think of? You think of rhinos? Okay. Can you think of any animal that does not need water? Even snakes need water. Every animal in the whole world has to have water at least a little bit. So since this summer you're making a splash, I brought some animals that I think of when I think of water. Now, I think of whales when I think of water. But, could I have brought a whale today? No. It doesn't work out very well. So, I brought some of the animals that I could actually bring with me. So, I think a lot of you have been looking at this one and trying to figure out what it is.
A dinosaur.
Now remember, it has something to do with water. Now of course every animal has something to do with water. But this is an animal that is still alive today. You could go to a zoo and see it. You could even go to some parts of the world and see it. What animal do you think it is? What do you think? Right there. Yeah, what do you think it is? Do you think it's a giraffe? And you think it's a lion? What do you think? A tiger? Crocodile? What do you think? You think it's a shark? Well, most of us seem to think it's something that eats meat, right? Look at those teeth. Would you want to mess with this animal? No. This is definitely an animal that eats meat. This is one of the largest animals of its kind in the world. This animal's favorite food is seals. It's black. And it could weigh 800 pounds. What do you think? What? A leopard? It's a good guess. Leopards can be black. They eat other animals, but they usually live in rainforests. What do you think? A black bear. I threw you off because it's black, didn't I? I heard most of you say it before, it is a polar bear. But if it's a polar bear, why is it black? What color are polar bears? White. Polar bears are white. But even though polar bears look white, there is not a single part on their body that is actually white colored. Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
A polar bear's fur is clear. So if we were to take each one of these pieces of fur off, this is a piece of polar bear fur. If we took each one off and we looked at it, we'd find out that they're actually all clear. If we took all the hair off and we looked at the skin, you know what color the skin is? Black. The skin is black, the hair is clear, but somehow when the light comes in and it shines through all of this, it looks white to us, which is pretty cool. So, what we're going to do, just because there are so many of us in here and I can't really walk amongst you, I'm going to show you the stuff and I'm going to leave it up here on the table. At the end, once we're done talking and asking questions and stuff like that, you'll have a chance to come up and touch everything that we look at today, okay? But we're going to wait till the end to do it. So, this is a piece of polar bear fur, which is really cool. The reason it's clear is because that lets light come into it. It hits the skin, and it warms it up. How many of you, have you ever worn a black shirt on a hot day? What do you notice happens? You get hotter. Because black absorbs the light and the heat. If you wear a white shirt on a hot day, you don't get as hot. Very nice. So, polar bears use that black skin to absorb that heat because they live in a place where hopefully it's very cold. Alright, now, what food did I say that polar bears eat? Polar bears eat seals. This is the fur of a heart seal. Now, one thing I really want you guys to do when you come up here is pay attention to the way these different furs feel. So, I want you to do me a favor, touch that one. How's it feel? It feels soft? Like really soft, like a cat? No? Okay. Touch this one for me. How does that feel? It feels really smooth, and I saw you do this with your fingers. Does it feel kind of like something was on your fingers when you touched it? Both these animals live in the water. So what happens to you if you spend too much time in the water? What happens?
You get sick.
You could get sick after a long time. What about your skin?
Wrinkles.
What happens?
Wrinkles.
Yeah, you get kind of pruny. Your fingers get wrinkly. Do you think that's very good for you? Could you stay in the bathtub or in the pool all day, every day? No, because it's not good for our skin. We can only stay in for a little bit of time. These animals have special fur because it helps keep them dry. So both the polar bear and the seal have fur that will keep them dry, but they feel very different and they do it in very different ways. So when you touch these animals, pay attention to how they feel and how they might be keeping themselves dry. This one feels almost oily when you touch it. Does oil work well with water?
Yeah.
Does it mix together or does it separate out?
Separate.
So if you have oil on your skin, will the water get to you? No, probably not. It works pretty well for a seal. Alright, now, both those animals live in the Arctic, right? Which is way up north, Alaska, Canada. Animals where probably most of us won't see in the wild. But I brought two animals with me that you might be able to see because we do have them around here a little bit, mostly on the other side of Kansas. Anybody have a guess what this one is? It is a beaver. Alright. I heard some of us saying it. Now, do beavers live in the water just some of the time or all the time? Beavers actually spend a lot of their time on land or in their dens, but they swim all year round, right? This animal doesn't just have to have that fur to keep it dry, it also has really thick fur underneath that keeps it warm as well. Now, along with it, this one, what's this one? This one is a river otter. You guys are very good at this. So this one's a beaver, this one's a river otter. They both have those tails that are designed to swim with. And they both have 2 layers of fur. In fact, otters have more fur than any other animal in the entire world. They have the densest fur in the world. So when you touch this one, see if you can get at that fur underneath and see how soft it is underneath and if there's a difference between the top and the bottom. Alright. So, if we're lucky, we might see otters and beavers. If we're very, very lucky, we might see seals and polar bears. But I brought 2 animals with me that I bet most of you have seen at some point in your life.